At the time of recording this video, it has been nearly a year since I dropped my official recap of Degrassi Takes Manhattan, which you guys really liked, and which also helped my channel soar from a humble 8 or so subscribers to the dedicated 2,000 or so I have today. So to celebrate our nearly a year anniversary together, and to thank you all for supporting and motivating me, today I bring you my official recap of yet another infamous Degrassi movie, Degrassi Goes Hollywood. The Degrassi movie, which I actually hadn't watched all the way through before until I started writing the script for this video. Or maybe I attempted to watch it years ago, but I blacked out or something. Who can say for sure? The point is, I went into this with very little memory of this movie's events outside of the Stoods were there and they were one of the worst parts. And now that I've officially watched Degrassi Goes Hollywood in its entirety and taken 20 pages of thorough notes on it, I officially remember too much about this movie, and I'm ready to give those memories away. Genuine question. Who do I blame for this? I don't think I should have to explain why making a Degrassi summer event Hollywood fantasy movie focused mainly on the characters who most desperately needed to graduate from the series was a bad idea, but I guess I'll do it like it's my job anyway. Buckle up, friends. This is gonna be a long video. The movie naturally opens with some classic California-invoking imagery, such as the Hollywood sign, Ferris wheels, sand, and palm trees. At the end of the Cali montage, we land in front of this lavish Hollywood mansion, where who do we find but our very own Paige Michalchuk. Looks like she's doing pretty damn well for herself post-college. Anyway, she's on the phone with Marco Del Rossi right now, and she's telling him all about her wonderful new celebrity fashion consultant lifestyle from the side of her beautiful Hollywood pool. Though, when Marco suggests that he come down to visit, Paige really quickly changes tune, telling him it's not a good time because she's just so busy this month, running around with all these movie stars and what have you. You know how it is. I mean, you wouldn't, but you know what I mean, babe. But then we hear someone calling out for Paige. Turns out, this is Paige's boss. And plot twist, Paige isn't a celebrity fashion consultant after all. She's just some rich proto-influencer's personal assistant, and she's too ashamed for Marco to know this about her for some reason. I don't know, man. That's still a bigger foot in the door than most people can get these days. Paige has to put Marco on hold and tend to her boss, Haley, who is this reality TV show star. Haley asks Paige to help her put an outfit together for the Virgin Mobile party. Were they a big Teen Nick sponsor or something? Because I feel like that's the only reason they would shout out a company by name, but I just don't remember. Paige is thrilled with the assignment, at first, until she realizes that she's being asked to put an outfit together for Haley's little hairless dog. I guess you gotta pay your dues before you're allowed to dress an actual human in this industry, which they should really warn you about in fashion school. They should also really warn you about those tiny little purse dog bladders. At least she only got it on Paige's wet seal camisole. Then we get another phenomenal Degrassi movie title card, and then we cut all the way back to Degrassi, where Principal Shep is talking to Jay Hogarth. Y'all remember the Shep, right? Degrassi's most temporary and abusive principal. So for some reason, the Shep hands over the keys to a school bus to Jay, and we never really find out why they've struck this deal. I mean, let's just hope that's not the Shep's favorite school bus or anything. Any Degrassi veteran knows that you just do not give Jay any measure of responsibility like that and expect it to go well. Oh, also it's winter break. Like, it's snowing right now. That's messed up. When this movie's premise is so summer-coded, all of a sudden the Shep teleports into the school's morning announcements, and he's telling everyone that Jason Mewes... you can't be serious. Jason Mewes is back at Degrassi to farm for more unpolished teenage talent after the shocking apparent success of Jay and Silent Bob Go Canadian A. This year he's casting for something called Musical High. You know, as in Jason Musical. It's his deeply personal, autobiographical teenage love story that's also a musical for some reason. And Peter, Sav, and Danny of the Stoods get so excited to audition for the role of the Musical High band and potentially have their big Hollywood break. Anya and Mia walk by right then, and Anya asks Mia if she's gonna audition. Mia says no, but she does want to meet the lead, who's some famous kid named Michael. Anya accuses her of having a crush, and Peter overhears this, and he is not pleased, cause that's his girlfriend. I love Anya for doing this to Peter though. Underrated shit stirrer right there. Now let's cut to Smithdale College real quick and check in on college freshman and crowd favorite Manny Santos. Right now, Manny's studying theater at Smithdale, and today she's performing this monologue for her snooty British theater professor named Mick. Professor Mick cuts Manny off in the middle of her monologue like, "Manny, I thought we worked on this before. You were supposed to cry in this scene." Manny's like, "I don't know, I just wanted to try something different," which I guess was a huge mistake.
Do you think that worked?
I'm not sure.
Hard to perform from a stance of not being sure, isn't it?
Jesus, what is this dude's damage? He probably failed his own acting career, huh? That's why he has to teach.
Are you not sure you want to be an actor? Are you not sure you have the focus to practice this craft?
No, I'm sure.
Are you not sure you have any talent? Because you're beginning to make me wonder.
Oh my god, that's it, isn't it? This dude probably had a couple child acting roles on the BBC and then faded into obscurity. Once Manny's tears start flowing, he goes and takes credit for them like, "Oh good, now that I've humiliated you and made you cry, use that emotion. Action." And then when she re-delivers the line full of authentic tears and fury, he's just so proud of himself for bringing that out of her. Yeah, dude. That was some impressive abuse. What's next? You're gonna love bomb her? You're gonna get inappropriate?
Are you not sure that I'm crazy about you?
Oh shit, you actually are. Why is it always the fine arts teachers? So they make out for a second, then Mick invites her out for dinner that night, but Manny already has plans to go to this Kevin Smith lecture, because I guess he's in town right now, giving professional talks to college students, and Manny wants to go, because after all, she was in Goes Canadian, eh? Mick's like, "Fine, go out with your friends instead of me," like a total man baby. But then we flash forward to the Kevin Smith event, and though Manny ends up going to the event with Emma, Mick actually shows up for the panel on his own. Not to be supportive or anything, just to be passive-aggressive. Awesome. Now we're gonna check in with Paige in California again. She's cleaning the pool when Haley comes by and bitches at her for being late for her dog's Reiki appointment. Yes, really. Then Haley gets her phone out and she sees on social media that Jason Mewes' next movie is doing auditions, and she's pissed that she never got a call for it. But Paige is like, "Oh my god, I happen to know Jason Mewes. Let me see if I can get you in." She offers to do this in the funniest way though. She's like, "Sure, I can see if I can get you an audition. If you promise to help me launch my stylist career." Poor Paige. That hot bitch in charge aura has not translated well into adulthood. Back over at Kevin Smith's thing, Kevin Smith announces auditions for Musical High to the audience. Turns out Jason's also there. Meanwhile, Mick is bitching and moaning in Manny's ear. "The things I do for you. Ugh, networking. Ugh, tapping into the actual film business. I didn't train you for this. I trained you to do community theater Shakespeare forever and cry yourself to sleep every night. Like me." But then Kevin Smith spots Manny and has her stand up for a round of applause, which Mick naturally cannot stand. After the panel, Manny is catching up with Kevin and Jason, both of whom want her to audition for Musical High. Jason thinks that she'd be perfect for the lead role, Trixie, who's the girl that teenage Jason fell in love with. So they give her the audition package with the music and stuff. We cut to the next day at Degrassi, where Jason's there with his lead actor, Michael, who's playing his teenage self. They're holding auditions for the band of Musical High, and the Stoods are up next. Michael gets right to flirting with Mia once the boys are on stage, and I'm glad. Then the Stoods start playing their audition piece. I mean, it's a shit show. It's nonsense. Peter's like, "Let's go home and I want to see your bedroom. Let's get sexy. Forget about your daddy." I mean, what the fuck is this? Jason tries to ask Michael what he thinks about the band, but Michael's still too distracted by Mia. So Jason goes full misogynist and kicks Mia out for it.
All right, my ears are still ringing. Which is exactly what I'm looking for, boys. You're the new high school band of Musical High. See you in LA.
That's right. These guys just got the job for sucking the most ass. We cut back over to Haley's mansion, and Paige lets Haley know that she got her the audition with Jason. So Haley tries singing through the audition song, but she really sucks at it. And Paige gets so frustrated at Haley's ass tier singing that she just starts like singing the song back at her as if that would help. I think they're trying to establish here that Paige can sing, but they're gonna Uno reverse that on us in like 20 or 30 minutes anyway, so okay. Now we cut back over to Degrassi because Manny is about to have her audition. She comes to Degrassi with Emma, and with Emma's temporary college boyfriend named Kelly. Fun fact, I am so fucking dumb I couldn't even tell Peter and Kelly apart for a while there. For the first 10 minutes of this movie, I really thought that Peter was changing his clothes over and over to get into as many scenes as possible and piss me off personally. But no, I just totally forgot that Kelly even existed, and I let myself get super mad for no reason. Peter Stone is like the red cape to my inner Matador's bowl. Like, it's on site. The second Manny steps through the doors of Degrassi, Mick is calling her up on her phone. Like, why aren't you in scene study right now? Manny's like, well, I had to audition just to see how it would go. To which Mick says, you'll just have to experience failure to see that I'm right. Even though she's literally already been in a movie before. Also imagine being a theater professor and teaching your students to fear rejection, as if that's gonna serve them well at all. So of course, since Mick straight up told her she was gonna fail, she does fail her audition. Thanks a lot, asshole. The auditions end for the day, and Jason's really disappointed that Manny didn't nail it like he thought she would. Meanwhile, the Studs are celebrating their new gig, which, remember, they're gonna play a band that sucks. But Peter ruins the moment because he spots Michael chatting up his girl again. So he has to go confront him. Michael's not even trying to hide it. He's straight up like, hey, I was just telling your girlfriend how much I want to hook up with her. So of course, Peter loses control and he punches Michael in the face, right in front of Jason Mewes. Michael gets himself off the hook by being like, I was just method acting. And I guess it works on Jason because he's thinking to himself, oh yeah, I did act like that in high school. So the Studs are hereby fired. They had a gig for all of 20 minutes maybe. Meanwhile, in Hollywood, Paige is picking up Haley from her audition, which apparently went really dogshit bad. And obviously Jason wasn't even there, so Haley's pissed off about that too. But Haley also left her Palm Pilot in the audition room, so she sends Paige back in there to get it for her. And the producer of the movie spots Paige as she tries to sneak in. For some reason, he demands that she audition right then and there. She is actively trying to leave the room, but he just won't let her. And she ends up auditioning for the movie under duress. I guess Degrassi vs. Hollywood is just like Degrassi vs. Manhattan. These creative opportunities just force themselves on all of us. But then we cut back to Toronto before we get to see how the audition goes. We see Manny mourning her bad audition with Emma and Kelly. When Kevin Smith somehow forces his way onto a video call with Manny on her laptop.
What are you doing on my computer?
Oh, you're dressed. Emma's dressed too, I bet, huh?
Does he do this a lot? Kevin encourages Manny to not give up just because her audition went bad. After all, this business is all about persistence and not knowing when to quit. Kevin tells Manny to get up and get her ass to Los Angeles right now to re-audition, because the picture needs her. Meanwhile, back in LA, I guess Jason's already there now, because his producer is showing him Paige's audition tape. Yep. Paige, I love your shirt. It's so shiny like stars. Jason's semi into it, but Jason doesn't want Paige to be his lead. He really wanted it to work out with Manny. And now we get this producer versus director battle element, which is pretty real. I mean, you can be Jason Mewes all you want, but still, nothing's happening on your set if your producer isn't on board for it. And this producer just wants to cast Paige and start production pronto if this film gets made at all. And then at the end of the scene, they zoom in on this freeze frame from Paige's monologue, and This is really funny looking. Back at Haley's mansion, Paige is about to take the dog for a walk when the producer rolls up with a paparazzo to capture the moment Paige finds out she's been cast in person, which is kind of a weird and unnecessary thing to do, in my opinion. I love how at the end he's like, "See you at the studio," but then he doesn't give her a set time or anything. But now that she's officially hot shit, Paige calls up Marco again and reinvites him to LA. Then she marches right back into the party in Haley's backyard, gives Haley back her dog, and quits her job on the spot. Haley's obviously pissed about this. She warns Paige that this town is a lot tougher than it looks, but Paige swears that she will never treat anybody the way Haley treated her, no matter how bad it gets. We'll see how that goes. After that, we cut to the musical high set. This will be Paige's first day on the job as an actress. She walks up to Jason Mewes when he's mid-conversation with Kevin Smith on Skype. Jason's in the middle of saying that he doesn't actually like Paige at all for Trixie, but he's settling for her because he's out of options. They are talking so much shit about her. Kevin Smith is just on Skype for the rest of this movie, by the way. Wonder what that's about. Now, unfortunately, since Paige had to go and invite Marco to come over, we have to make another quick stop in College World for this boring ass scene where Marco goes to see Ellie to invite her to LA with him. Marco and Ellie have definitely suffered the most in their high school to college transition when it comes to their character development, or lack thereof. They kind of just stopped doing anything interesting. Like, we agree these two are just a couple of jokes now, right? Now Marco's just this full-time, hysterical, incel, gay drama queen, and literally all Ellie does is mope about boys who don't like her as much as she likes them. They're basically on Degrassi life support with nothing interesting to do ever. And lucky us, they're about to be in a lot of the rest of this movie. Yay. There's also this thing going on where apparently Ellie's mom has been trying to get hold of her on the phone a lot lately, but Ellie keeps dodging her calls for some reason. Now we're back at the dot with Emma and Manny. Emma's like, there has to be some way to get you down to LA in time for that audition. Then Manny dumps her pathetic little coin purse on the table, and they both have this moment where they're like, oh yeah, we're a couple of broke college students. But since Spinner's there like always, he overhears them and he suggests that they catch a ride down to LA with the Studes. We pan over to the Studes real quick and we overhear Peter talking about how they're gonna rent this school bus and they're gonna like take a road trip all the way from Canada to LA to do a tour and gather gigs so that Peter can make it up to them for ruining their gig with the movie. Again, worst band at the auditions. This boy is so confident they're gonna get gigs. So now Manny and Emma hop over there to insert themselves into the boys' vacation plans. And when Peter tries to shut them down, they're all, hey, remember those topless photos you took of Manny and spread all over the school that one time? You owe her big time. These two have given Peter so much undeserved grace since then. I'm kind of shocked they even remembered that happened. But then when Manny realizes that Peter was talking about Jay's bus, she's like, nope, forget it. Just leave me here with my spiral of despair. Yeah, Jay and Manny have had their ups and downs for sure. Wasn't this last one about the whole Jay trying to sabotage Manny's theater school audition with a sex tape? Yeah, I wonder why she's so pissed at him still. Isn't that crazy though? Because if she had gotten rejected, she wouldn't be dealing with Mick right now. Manny just always has these endless options for like, what kind of personal hell would you like to live in? Back in LA, Paige meets up with that producer guy for brunch. There's all these paparazzi there since the news just got out that she's the new starlet starring in the new Jason Mewes project. And she basically has the producer reassure her that he's in her corner. Don't you worry about Jason, Paige. I'm here to stick up for you. And then even though she just got there, she's like, well, better go pick up my friends at the airport. and she bounces. The TMZ headlines that day were like, musical high star has 2-minute brunch in West Hollywood. Anyway, Paige is picking up Ellie and Marco at the airport. There's this really happy sort of military family reunion going on, and it makes Ellie sad. You know, because like her dad's in the military. She starts crying until Paige arrives in a limo. And of course, we're gonna get that Hollywood version of the Manhattan shopping spree from the other movie. I guess technically this one came first. I think the paparazzi finally got bored because they're not even following Paige anymore. And I just love watching these guys walking down the strip and looking around at all the stores like, wow, whoa, how cool. Look. Because if you've been there before, you know there's like a 75% chance that anything they're pointing at is selling like either the exact same souvenir t-shirt or some cheap, ugly lingerie. Finally, the crew arrives at Paige's mansion and she gets to show them around.
My God! Oh my God, look at this place!
Now, I don't know how normal it is exactly for brand new actors to get booked like a complimentary stay at a mansion for their first project. I would guess not very. I feel like I've read about the cast of Schmigadoon having to stay in these like raccoon-infested houses in Canada during production. And those guys were on SNL and shit. So back over in Canada, Emma drags Manny to Jay's auto shop to demand that she use his bus to get down to LA for the audition. When they find Jay on the bus, he's just, I don't know what the fuck this guy was doing. Like, the man's just hunched down on the floor waiting to spring at somebody. What a creep. But Emma does her classic Emma thing, and she demands that Manny have a spot on this bus. And Jay does give in. But also the way he says yes kind of makes it sound like he's gonna make Manny drive the bus.
All right, if you need help getting to LA, I've got the route mapped out, GPS ready, and a tank full of gas.
There's no reason to say no.
Then back over on Jason's movie set, Marco and Ellie are tagging along with Paige, and we're already seeing the signs that Paige is gonna succumb to her new celebrity ego. She's already bossing around the stylists and the assistants. Then, back in Canada, Manny's packing for the trip. Emma and Kelly are there with her like usual. Kelly's like, you should be glad you're gonna be with Jay instead of that creep of a professor you got. And then that very same creep of a professor shows up at their doorstep. God damn it, Kelly, you summoned him. Mick's all, can we go somewhere to talk? I wonder where they're gonna go. Ha, gotcha. They're at the dot again. Mick gets right back to scolding Manny again for daring to dream big. He's just rubbing it in her face how he totally told her she'd screw up the audition, and then she did. So obviously she's not ready for work. And Manny starts crying, of course, and he's just like, good talk. Let's get out of here. Dude, did you just take her there to make her cry? Like, what was the point of leaving the house? And he keeps laying into her. He's like, Kevin Smith doesn't know shit. You're still the same talented dumbass you were when you crawled out of my bed this morning, and that's all you're ever gonna be. And if that's not enough, Spinner back there, he gets off the phone, and he makes this grand announcement to the entire cafe as if all these random people know and care who he and his friends are. He tells the world that Marco Del Rossi just called and let him know that Paige is the lead in the new Jason Mewes project. What is happening? Of course, everyone reacts like this matters to them personally. And now Manny gets to have a straight up mental breakdown. Back over on the Jason Mewes set, Paige and Michael are rehearsing a scene together. And I mean, let's just let Paige's acting skills speak for themselves.
What am I, some mad scientist genius?
Hello, I thought you were a brainiac. I meant stop staring at their melons.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Jason's criticizing Paige like, Trixie wouldn't say melons, she'd say boobs. Like, oh my god, who the fuck cares? This is supposed to be this guy's magnum opus, mind you. Jason's telling the producer right in front of Paige that she can't act for shit. But the producer's like, no, 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 we'll make it work. I'm starting to think this guy just doesn't want to do his job. So now Paige really needs to like save her own ass. She gets to practicing her lines with Marco and Ellie. And low-key, they also think that she sucks. They're doing the same boobs line over and over, but it's just not landing. Are there no acting coaches available for this Hollywood movie, just not in the budget or something? Should we have reconsidered the mansion rental? So now Paige is getting hella stressed. She's like, I need some comfort food stat. Quick, Ellie, go to the Canadian store and buy me some bacon. Excuse me? Hold up, I'm actually crying. So Ellie goes to the Canadian store. She runs into Craig Manning, of all people. She just walks right into this ketchup chip related conversation that he's having with Pete Wentz and Cassidy from Hey Monday. And Craig is so excited to see Ellie. They have a little small talk. He invites her to this gig that he's playing tonight. He's like, guess what? I've been clean and sober from cocaine for like a year now. Because remember last time we saw him, he was addicted to cocaine. So Ellie's like, cool. In that case, let's reconnect. Back at the musical high set, they're running through this musical sequence where Paige is singing this song on top of this tower of overturned school lockers. Isn't it crazy how this happened to Jason Mewes in real life? But Paige can't, like, breathe, and she's too scared to start descending from that tower, and she's just making a total fool of herself. So Jason gets mad. He's all, you're screwing up the moment I fell in love with Trixie. Really, Jason? You're saying it happened exactly like this? Alas, Paige deduces that the stairs are simply too dangerous for her to work with, so the crew's gonna take 5. And at this point, Paige's imposter syndrome is getting so real. Like, she's realizing she's actually not cut out for this job at all, and she's probably gonna have to go crawling back to Haley and go back to being a slave for her and her bald little dog again. I feel like this movie wants me to be torn between, like, would Paige be better at the role or would Manny? But, like, obviously it's Manny, right? I mean, I'm no college theater professor or anything, but it seems like a pretty simple choice to me. And then 2 phone calls happen. First, the producer calls Paige, and she's bracing herself to get fired. And then Marco gets a mysterious call from Ellie's mom, of all people. Now we're going back to the dot again, the home of Manny Santos's trauma. We find out that Manny's told Jay to go on down to LA without her due to the news that she got regarding Paige and the movie. So now Emma's upset with her for giving up. That is until Jason calls Manny and Emma answers the phone for her. And when she hangs up, she tells Manny that Jason says that Paige is not working out for him at all. So now we're back on board for LA. But don't get too excited, because by the time we're back on the musical high set, we find out that actually the producer has talked Jason out of firing Paige because she's landed the cover page of 17 magazine or something. Like, okay, so what? I get that's basic movie marketing logic, but it's not like Jason gives a shit. We cut to Paige's mansion, and Marco's looking pretty destroyed over whatever Ellie's mom just told him on the phone, and Ellie finally arrives back at the mansion from her bacon expedition. She's all happy about seeing Craig, but Marco cuts her off. Obviously, he's way more concerned about Ellie's relationship with her mom, and then the two of them finally discuss how Ellie's dad had just gotten back from his military service, but he's sick in some kind of vague way. And in true Ellie fashion, she does not want to talk about this for long. She would much rather avoid the issue and fill her brain with thoughts of Craig instead. Can never relate. Now let's check in with the Stoods real quick as they get ready to embark on their LA journey.
Sweet. 2 weeks of scratching, belching, not showering, good times.
That's what you were looking forward to? Y'all deserve to get fired from that movie for real. Unfortunately for Sav, Mia arrives right then and destroys his cherished bro vibe. And then, even worse, Manny shows up. Jay's like, are you sure this time? And she's all, yes, so off they go. Just listen to these dorks.
Where we going? Southern California, baby! Here we come!
Now back at Paige's mansion, Paige is about to go to this big Hollywood event for publicity reasons, and we find out that Haley's coming with her. Obviously, their dynamic has flipped over, and now Haley's using Paige for her networking opportunities. These two are complaining to each other about how all these lame commoners like Ellie and Marco just don't get what it's like to be famous. Like, they don't even understand the importance of the schmooze. Like, this is why famous people have to hang out with famous people, because we get it. Even though Marco definitely gets it. Like, have you not seen him creaming his pants every which way since he got here?
Oh my god, look at this place!
Speaking of pants, Marco comes running out like, wait, Paige, don't go anywhere, cause I'm worried about Ellie. But Paige just blows Marco off like, I'll talk to Ellie tomorrow. Then off she goes to her event. Marco's watching her leave like, wow, I can't believe she'd actually do this to Ellie. Fame really changes a person. So now Ellie's gonna go to Craig's gig that he invited her to. She catches him on stage mid-song, and he's in the middle of this. I mean, let's be real. It sounds exactly the same as all his other songs. Then after the song, Craig comes on down to say hi to Ellie, and Ellie tells him that it's gotten like a little tense at Paige's place, so he offers her to come stay over at his condo. Ellie's like, is that a good idea? With our history? But Craig's like, nah man, don't worry about it. My condo's on the beach. I'm trying to do that fuckboy thing he does, like, I can't do that smile. I'm like physically incapable of it. Oh no. Back at the mansion, Ellie's stopped by to pack up some things to take to Craig's place for the night, and Marco tries to restart the whole dad conversation, which Ellie is so not interested in having. And then when Marco finds out that Ellie's about to go to Craig's place, he's like, great idea, Ellie. Replace one drama with another. And he's kind of got a point there. But Ellie very convincingly shuts Marco's worries down.
Come on, Ellie. This guy is bad news for girls, especially you.
I'm over him.
Meanwhile, on the tour bus, the bus freaking breaks down in the middle of nowhere. Luckily, the guys don't seem that bothered. They're just dicking around outside. Until they accidentally bop Manny in the head with a hacky sack. And the poor girl just loses it. She's like, I need to prepare for my audition. I need to think about the emotional beats of the song right now. Okay, girl, based on what we just saw on set, I say we drop the song practice and just work on standing on top of the moving bus without getting sick. Then I think you'll be prepared to dive into this shit show. Peter's like, dude, like, if you need to practice singing, then just sing. We're like literally a band or whatever. So Manny's like, fine, stand back everyone. I'm gonna sing. And so she does. And it's the most awkward thing. The boys are looking at her like she just dumped a jar of salsa on her head and started doing Emma's talent show Panther dance. Danny's like, you're not gonna sing it like that, are you? And Manny's like, whatever, okay? You guys are lame. Trying to psych me out before my audition? Ew. She takes it in a pretty bad way. Meanwhile, Ellie and Craig are catching up at Craig's place. Craig's like, wow, can't believe your ex slept with Caitlin. Yeah, man, neither can the rest of us. And then Craig says that he's got the whole day planned out for him and Ellie. First, he wants to play a song that he wrote in rehab, so he does. Again, it sounds like all his other songs. It's fine. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't be so harsh, because we all know Hey Cala, Hey Fornia is just around the corner from this movie. And Ellie likes the song, so whatever. Then after that, Craig takes her out to wander around the beach together, jump around a little bit. I love this one part where Craig like squares up to the ocean for a second, then runs away like, no, I didn't mean it. Then they throw some sticks in the water. Seems like they might be rekindling that old flame. They even adopt a balloon together. Ellie's like, it's so peaceful out here on the beach.
If I could swim, I'd wade out. Just as far as I could go and get away from everything.
I'm sure that's not anything to worry about. Also, Craig tells Ellie that that song that he wrote for her earlier, that he wrote in rehab, he wants her to know that he wrote it specifically for her. You're right, Craig. That girl's made way too much progress. Reel that sad bitch right back into your fuckboy orbit. Save her. Back on the bus. The bus is back in action again, but they gotta pull over for a second so the boys can pee. Jay's watching Manny scrutinize her musical high lyrics. He suggests that she might be overthinking the lyrics, which causes her to spiral. Like, okay, Mick was right about me all along. I'm just some talentless idiot. Guess I better call Mick up and say I'm ready to quit acting forever and crawl back into his race car bed. But before she can, Jay grabs her phone from her and he chucks it out into the dirt. Manny goes full drama, like, you don't know what's best for me. And then she just goes off like this.
Will you let me get it if I cry? If I tell you how stupid I am, fine, I'm stupid, I'm an idiot.
Jay's like, look what this guy's done to you. Thankfully, here comes Sav to pull us back to shore before we drown in this melodrama.
Hey guys, look what I found in the bushes. A phone.
Our future student body president, ladies and gentlemen. Back in LA, Ellie and Craig head back to Craig's condo and they're arguing about whether they saw Johnny Depp on the beach or not. I'd assume that they didn't, but then this girl named Yvette appears and she pokes her head out of the bathroom door like, oh, Craig, you're back. And then they kiss. Yep. Seems like somebody still hasn't grown out of the Craig Manning fuckboy lifestyle. Also, this Yvette girl is a professional model. Even worse. And she's super nice. So nice that she invites Ellie to stay over with her and Craig for a sushi dinner tonight. Even worse than worse. Meanwhile, Paige is out having cocktails or whatever with Haley. Paparazzi are along for the ride, of course. These two are planning a fake birthday party for Paige. They're gonna say she's turning 18 again, but Paige is still worrying about Jason's script, which she just carries around with her all the time now. She's like, how am I gonna learn all these lines in between all this party planning? As if this party has to happen. But Haley's all, don't learn your lines, loser. Leading ladies get to improvise. In fact, if you don't improvise, this town's just gonna walk all over you. You don't want that. Ugh. God, please don't say things like that to Paige Michaelchuk. She's come so far. Back at Craig's, Ellie's decided to stay for the sushi dinner because, yes, Ellie would literally rather have this awkward dinner with her crush and her crush's girlfriend than face Marco or even talk to her mom. The dinner doesn't last long, though. Ellie's being a pretty good sport, all things considered, but obviously watching these two kiss at every opportunity is starting to get to her, so she says it's time for her to go. Craig runs after Ellie into the hallway, and he's like, wait, Ellie, I should have told you about Yvette. And Ellie's like, no, I'm the dumbass for thinking something between us was gonna happen. Craig's all, sorry for giving you the wrong idea. I was just so happy to see you, which I'm calling bullshit on. There is no way he didn't withhold that information on purpose, right? I mean, we know this guy by now. He hasn't got a single honest bone in his stupid Playboy body. Anyway, Ellie leaves. She goes to the beach, sobbing and feeling sorry for herself. Back at Paige's mansion the next morning, now Marco's interrogating Ellie about her recent choices in the kitchen. Ellie's like, yes, I'm back. Yes, Craig's got a girlfriend. No, I don't want to talk about it. Then she runs away. Then Paige arrives with a mega hangover, and Marco freaks out on her that rehearsal already started and Paige isn't even dressed yet. But Paige is balls deep into her diva shit by now. She's like, hush, nothing starts without the star. Now be a dear and get me my iPhone. And I'd personally be way more mad at her if she was talking to like season 4 or season 5 Marco right now. Season 8 Marco totally deserves it. Finally, Paige arrives on set. Of course, Jason's pissed. They run a scene and Paige decides to run with that improv advice that Haley gave her. And whoa, Jason hates it. Who could have seen that coming? He's like, can you do it as scripted, please? And Paige is like, nah. I like my line way better. On top of that, I think I know Trixie way better than you do. Jason's like, are you sure about that? 'Cause I wrote this thing. Paige is all, what would you know about writing, Jason Mewes? I mean, this is only your first writing credit. Girl, what would you know about writing? You dressed dogs for a living last week. So Jason kicks Paige off set, naturally, and we go back to the bus. Manny is on the phone with Emma. She's still panicking because she thinks all the guys think that she sucks at singing, which, again, shouldn't matter. Remember, Jason Mewes himself told Manny that he wanted her. I'm getting so sick of this girl, I swear. Side note, Emma's having this conversation at the dot while simultaneously making out with Kelly. Ew. Right then, Jay stops the bus so they can all get food, and Manny makes like she's just gonna get off the bus and walk home by herself because she's changed her mind again. But then Jay notices there's music coming out of the bar they've just pulled up at, so he tells the students, hey, you guys gotta bring your instruments into this place. And they all go on in. When Jay slips away for a second, Manny asks the students why they just go along with whatever Jay tells them to do.
Jay's awesome. And he scares us.
After the band on stage wraps up, the MC comes on and he's like, okay, next up for our open mic is Manny Santos. Jay went and signed Manny up without even asking first. And Manny really doesn't want to do it. But Chris Jericho over here is giving off some major I will fucking kill you if you don't commit to this kind of vibes. So up she goes. The students get on stage with her and Manny clams up at first. Peter's like, come on, Manny. They won't let us off stage if you don't sing something. And honestly, for once, I actually believe something that Peter says. Because seriously, what kind of open mic danger bar is this? So yeah, things start out pretty shaky, but Manny quickly finds her confidence and she ends up knocking the performance out of the park. Yay! Nobody has to die today. Good work, Jay. You did it. So now we'll check in with Paige's birthday party. The place is absolutely popping. Marco tries to complain to Ellie about how Paige is officially out of control, but Ellie's way too busy getting drunk to care. Paige comes over with her phone like, ugh, Ellie, your sad freaking mom keeps calling me and it's like ruining the vibe. Answer it. So Ellie finally does. And it sounds like Ellie's mom is pretty pissed at her for dodging her calls this whole time, which I get. But then she just hangs up on her after like 5 seconds. Like, Mom, didn't you have something to say? So now Ellie's real upset and she has to grab a whole bottle of liquor for herself. Meanwhile, we see that Paige has actually invited Jason to this party. Like an idiot. She's all, I'm so glad you came. Now you have the perfect opportunity to apologize to me. But instead of that, Jason just fires her in front of her entire party. By now, Ellie is drinking pretty damn hard. But Craig Manning suddenly materializes behind her. He's like, my life seemed so perfect, but then you came here. And now I'm starting to think, maybe it's not so perfect after all. Ellie's like, don't you blame this shit on me. And she leaves, and Marco prevents Craig from going after her. And these guys struggle for a second and just fall into the pool. Whoops. Before we know it, Ellie's gone and sobbed and drank herself all the way back to the beach. Now that's how you fit in Hollywood. Ultimately, she decides to start walking out into the ocean to let herself get swept away by the water, just like she told Craig she wanted to do the day before. But you know, before we worry too much about her, let's check in on the Stoods again. So the Stoods, Jay and Manny, are leaving the bar right now after that killer performance, riding that high all the way back to the bus. And it looks like Manny's starting to see the good in Jay all over again, because after all, she never would have recaptured her confidence as a performer if he hadn't just forced her to do that right now. But somehow, Peter's the first one to notice that the bus is missing. Uh-oh, now back at the beach. Marco and Craig have managed to drag themselves out of the pool, and now they're running around the beach trying to find Ellie. First, they find her liquor bottle and her shawl on the ground, and then Craig looks out to the water and he sees Ellie waiting out there. I mean, luckily, she's only up to about her hips. So the boys dive in, and they bring her back to shore, and they're like, it's okay. You're gonna be okay now. Back at the bar, our musicians are having a pretty bad time. Mia's like, I had thousands of dollars of designer clothing on that bus. Meanwhile, Sav's all, oh, my sticker collection. But then Jason calls Manny to let her know that Paige has been fired. So Manny's all fired up all over again. She's like, okay, people, we got a movie to get to.
That's great, Boo, but be reasonable. You gonna walk all the way to Hollywood?
Whatever it takes.
She said it! Over at the film studio, Jason is fretting to Kevin about the Manny situation, over Skype, of course. And Kevin's giving Jason, like, the exact same pep talk for the third time or something. Stick to your guns! You gotta find your Trixie. Then Paige and the producer guys storm in, demanding answers for why Jason fired Paige, as if there's any question as to why. And Jason's like, look, man, I gave it a shot. Paige sucks at acting, and she sucks to work with. And the producer's all, oh my god, no, but she creates so much buzz. That's what matters. But Jason's like, no, I want Manny Santos or I want nobody. And obviously, hearing Manny's name in that context sets Paige off pretty bad. Those two have a pretty competitive history after all. And the producer's like, if you don't take Paige back, then I'm firing you, Jason Mewes. Then Jason does that whole, fired? I quit. Also, Kevin Smith is still on this Skype call, making reaction faces the whole time. We cut back over to the Stoods, and yes, they are literally walking to Hollywood right now. And now Manny's mad at Jay again, because it seems that the bus got stolen because Jay left his keys in the ignition. Jay. But then Peter Stone, of all people, finds the bus. The bus was just a little down the road this entire time. What? Can you imagine stealing a bus and then like 10 minutes later you just change your mind? What am I even gonna do with all this expensive designer clothing in here? Ugh, I already have these stickers. Back over in Hollywood, Paige shows up on set and she goes to her producer saying she has a solution to their little problem. She's all, here's what we do. We just find a new director. And the producer's like, the fuck did you just say to me? We cannot make an autobiographical movie musical about Jason without Jason. Paige is like, what? I thought you said you needed me. The producer's like, I was bluffing, ya dumbass. But then you pissed him off, and now you have a whole diva reputation that's gotten you blacklisted from the entire industry, all in under like 15 minutes. How did you even do that? So now the movie's dead in the water. Meanwhile, Craig and Marco have taken Ellie back to Craig's condo. Ellie looks like she's on her deathbed. She finally opens up and she explains that her dad developed PTSD during his time in military service. And now that he's home, Ellie's worried about, like, is he gonna be different? Are things gonna be okay? So Craig's like, it'll be okay, Ellie. I'll make you some eggs. Cool, man. Sounds good. So now Paige is just wandering around Hollywood, her career officially in tatters. She walks by these tables and Perez Hilton happens to be sitting at one of them. Ew. Paige pleads with him to submit a retraction on TMZ because he's the one who broke the story about her getting fired and shit like that. And Perez is basically like, ha, no, don't you know who I am? Also, this guy is such a dog shit actor, Jesus Lord. Perez gives Paige some advice. He says that she should just do something crazy enough for him to do a follow-up story on her, and maybe it could possibly be some kind of thing that she could make work out for her somehow. Basically just get into another scandal so Perez can have more content. Great. Sounds like a solid, mutually beneficial plan to me. Perez also helps Paige out by giving her an invitation to an upcoming movie premiere so she can come up with something crazy to do there. And for some reason, Paige is like, yes, the break I've been looking for. Back with the Stoods, they're trying to get the bus running again. Sav has died or something. It turns out that the bus has really broken down this time, so that's actually why the thief abandoned it. And it's really bad this time because Jay can't fix it. Except it's not really bad this time because Mia just fixes it herself with a pair of her designer leggings. Whew, that was a close one. And now they're finally about to close in on Hollywood. Meanwhile, Haley and Paige are getting pedicures and they're brainstorming some great scandal ideas for Paige. Haley's like, ooh, maybe get pregnant. And Paige is like, what the fuck? Then Haley suggests releasing a sex tape. But Paige's #1 problem with that is that she simply does not have the time. Paige ends up deciding to get a Brazilian wax and then just flash her junk at some point while she's on the red carpet. She is too excited about coming up with this plan. Marco overhears and he's like, this is what you want for yourself, Paige Michalchuk? Really? And Paige is all, better than being not famous like you, Marco Del Nobody. Marco rightfully chews her out for turning into such a bad person. Paige is like, wow, all you do is judge me. And Marco's like, you're just the same insecure girl you always have been. And then Paige just slaps his face. That's it, boys. She's gone. So Marco's gonna go and leave Paige to her own devices. Then the bus finally crosses over into Hollywood. Manny calls Jason and lets him know that they're coming. He tells her that the movie is canceled though. Before she can really react to that, Sav apparently spots Ben Affleck out there at this movie premiere they're passing by. And everyone around Manny freaks out, so they gotta stop the bus and go join the mob in hopes of getting more Affleck sightings. Little do they know, Paige and Haley are about to get out of their limo, but Paige is having her come to Jesus moment at the worst possible time, like, oh, do I really want to do this? And Haley's like, yeah, bitch, you want to do this. So Paige is like, okay. Then Paige starts getting out of the car, but Manny spots her. Even though she knows Paige is in town, she's really shocked by this. Manny screams Paige's name, and then Paige screams Manny's name, and then Paige snags her high heel on the red carpet and whoosh, down she goes. She breaks her leg. Everyone starts applauding. Like, does this count as a scandal? But Manny decides to have a heart. She jumps over the rope to help Paige up, and the whole bus crew helps Paige home, and then they're all hanging out at her mansion together. The dudes go make use of the pool. Meanwhile, Manny's taking care of Paige in the bedroom. Paige is telling Manny about how fame just isn't what it's cracked up to be, and Manny tells Paige that her whole Hollywood dream is basically dead now, after all she's been through. But that gives Paige an idea, and she starts rounding up everyone to get back on the bus. Before we get to know where they're going, we go over to the airport, where Craig is seeing Ellie off. She's finally going home to see her dad. Ellie thanks Craig for all the help. They have one last hug, and Ellie almost makes it all the way to her gate, but then she turns around and runs back for one last kiss. Super dramatic. And I guess we can really call it now. Craig Manning will never outgrow cheating. And I think that's basically where their story ends, right? That sucks. Then we cut to Jason Mewes' office. Jason's in the middle of packing his stuff up and taking down all his posters when the producer comes in. He begs Jason for his forgiveness and for help finishing the movie they started. But Jason's like, nah, man, the moment has passed. But then Paige Michalchuk rides in on her crutches, demanding, you boys, go to the window right now. There's that hot bitch in charge energy we all know and love. They all go down to the window and see Manny and the Stoods performing below, performing Jason's song on top of their tour bus to this little crowd. And okay, I like this part. Cassie Steele is killing it. The way this scene is shot somehow really sells us on this goofball ass band for a second. Jason is absolutely thrilled because now he gets to remake the movie all over again with Manny. He hires her straight from that window. She can hear him somehow. And I'm just relieved that Paige gets to end her time in this series on one kind gesture. We take one last stop at the dot to catch up with our Canadians, finding out the news about the new casting and the future of the Jason Mewes project. Everyone's ecstatic that Manny got her part and the Stoods are back in the movie. Next time we're on set, Paige is working as Jason's assistant. So even though she's back where she was, working her way up the ladder, she's giving it her best. Then we see a run through of one of the songs in the movie, and we're happy for you, Manny. Next, we wrap up everything with Ellie and Marco. Ellie sees her dad and it goes okay, and we see Marco went with her. And while he's there, Marco decides not to take a call from Paige, which is pretty sad. Then we cut to the next day, I'm pretty sure. Everybody but Jay is staying in town to finish the movie, so he's saying goodbye to Manny. He tells her he loves her. She says, I know. She says that she'll be back in town before he knows it. He says he'll be waiting for her. They have this kind of funny looking kiss on the porch, and then the Stoods barge in to cheer them on. Then they all wave goodbye to Jay as he heads back to Canada in that majestic school bus. Let's hope Mia's designer leggings hold till he makes it to Degrassi. And that's the end of Degrassi Goes Hollywood. Thank God. This movie is ridiculous. The Degrassi writers tried their hands at writing this steamy, scandally story in the entertainment industry, and they tried real hard. But in the end, all it achieved was show us how woefully mentally unfit even our most senior, most educated Degrassi characters were for living in the real world. I mean, it is almost painful watching these kids try to act like a bunch of hotshot adults, when I wouldn't trust a single one of them to even heat up a can of ravioli without burning their house down. Overall, this movie was a very weird trip. Not as rewatchable as Takes Manhattan, in my opinion. It's just missing that cheesy personality that I loved so much in that one. Anyway, I'm gonna keep fulfilling your cringy Degrassi recap I'm gonna keep fulfilling your cringy Degrassi episode recap requests this year. So if you've watched this whole video till now and you're still not subscribed to me yet, you should really consider it. Maybe we can even hit 10K this year? It could happen to us. But that's enough from me for today. Remember to never leave your keys in the ignition, and I'll see you next time.